Firstly, before I start, thank you to everyone that watched my recent video, my recent deep dive on Charlie Sheen and Hollywood rituals. The reception and the comments and the engagement has really given me confidence that I can start dropping more deep dives on YouTube and it will be received positively. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Due to YouTube's guidelines and censorship, I'm going to have to swap words out in order for the video to remain monetized. I'll probably have to swap the P-O-R-N word for corn. So if I say corn, you know what I mean. It will mean the world to me if you watch this video all the way to the end. I promise you by the end, you will not look at corn the same ever again. So sit back, relax, grab a drink, whatever you got to do, grab a splizzif, and I'll see you lot at the end of the video. Bosh.
Early in the morning,
Pornography is one of the most consumed media in the world. A 2012 statistic said that around 30% of all internet traffic is pornography. And the biggest corn site gets over 4 billion page views and 350 million unique visitors per month, a study has found. That was back in 2012. You can only imagine what it's like now. According to a 2018 article, more people visited porn websites than Twitter, Wikipedia, and Netflix. Just look at the rise of OF and how popular that's been ever since lockdown. That's a clear example of how corn continues to modernize. Gone are the days where you're watching your favorite P-star. Now the girl next door, the girl from your office, the girl from your school or whatever can sell her body for $3.99, $5.99 a month, $9.99 a month, and her dignity alongside that. Now I'm not judging anyone. You can do whatever you want. But many OF stars have come out after their careers are kind of done and said, listen, I regret doing that. And once your pictures and graphic videos are out there, there's no going back. But what people don't realize is corn and the act of watching corn, the act of watching 2 people, 3 people, 4 people engaging in intercourse is rooted in satanic and demonic practices. It is an aspect of sex magic rituals popularized by Aleister Crowley and brought into the mainstream by 2 key figures. In this video, I will highlight the history of corn and show you how it directly and factually ties in with Aleister Crowley's Thelema teachings, as it was specifically his teachings that inspired 2 key figures. Those 2 key figures being Alfred Kinsey and Hugh Hefner. All of these men changed the world forever, and they ushered in the sexual revolution that took place in the 60s that revolutionized the way we see sex, view sex, and changed the world indefinitely. Before the 70s, owning corn was illegal. The 2 main cases that changed that was Stanley versus Georgia in 1969 and the 1971 US versus Riedel case. After these cases, it was now accepted and legal to have and own corn in your home. Only children corn was illegal, and that was only voted against 6-3. So who were the 3 people that voted for owning child pornography, bro? I'm not shocked, obviously. This is the world we live in. Now, in the 60s, there was a sexual revolution. This was largely led by the hippie movement, homosexuals, and also led to the rise of Playboy. Being sexually liberated and being more sexually free was the model. But as I mentioned, people don't realize it was the teachings of this famous satanic pedophile Aleister Crowley that inspired this revolution. The same Aleister Crowley that inspired Hollywood. He is the father and the reason why porn is so accepted and embraced today. Now, it's important that I give you the timeline. Before I tell you where we got to and how we got there, it's important to look at where we started. History is the most important subject in the world, guys. Society is not born in a vacuum. Modern society was not just plopped into the air randomly. We are a direct product of where we have been, where we have come from. Fact. That's literally the way the world works. Yeah, everything we look at today is a product of a society before us. You understand? So it's very important that we look back at the history and how we got there, specifically Aleister Crowley's history. Now, in 1904, Aleister Crowley visited Egypt with his wife on his honeymoon, where he would partake in ancient Egyptian rituals. On March 18th, he claims his wife became possessed by one of these deities, specifically Horus. Horus should seem familiar to some of you. Even if you don't know the name, I'm sure you've seen the eye everywhere. The eye of Horus, people have it tattooed on them. It's a symbol in corporate logos. The eye of Horus is everywhere. And there's a reason for that. Now, on March the 20th, he claimed that she was possessed again. This time, she claimed the equinox of the gods has come. She then led Aleister to a museum where he then had supernatural experiences himself. He claims he was visited by Horus, who was the messenger of Horus, on April the 8th. He was told that he would be the prophet of Horus and it was up to him and his followers to usher in the new age, the age of Horus. Some people like to call it the age of Aquarius, but the elites who run this world are followers of Horus. They are followers of false gods. So they believe in Horus and the age or the eon of Horus, which we're in now. The age of Horus is defined by self-worship, a large-scale detachment from God and religious beliefs where humans enter a new era of enlightenment and personal spiritual potential. It's full of ego, it's full of narcissism, do you understand? And you can look at the world around you, idol worship in celebrities and all these things. And humans have always had this in us to challenge higher powers, but we're truly in an era of self-worship. We are our own gods and we can do what we want. And these type of occultists like Aleister Crowley wanted to really elevate one's consciousness to that of a god, you feel me? He was then instructed on how to bring in the new world order, and his phrase, "do what thou wilt," was born. Aleister Crowley promoted the abandonment of morality. He was told by Horus through Hours to embrace sexuality, and he promoted being sexually free and promoted sex with both men and women. The main thing in Thelema is sex magic. Sex magic, as I mentioned in the Charlie Sheen video, is occult magic that when people climax during these rituals, you can communicate more effectively with the spirit realm. It's within these very same practices that we can see the origin of pornography. Aleister Crowley was performing magic rituals in his lodges. He would participate in orgies where one woman would have intercourse with 1, 2, 3, multiple men, while others watched and pleasured themselves to the sight of it. Does that not sound familiar? What is pornography in the modern day? You sitting down at a laptop or your phone watching people engage in intercourse while you pleasure yourself. This is exactly what Aleister Crowley was doing in his demonic, satanic lodges. Every single time we masturbate to corn, we are basically performing a modern day magic ritual every day on a daily basis, or however often you do it. Millions of people performing these rituals at the same time. Now this leads us on nicely to Alfred Kinsey. Now Alfred Kinsey was a sexologist and founder of the Institute of Sex Research in the 1940s. He published the Kinsey Report that changed the entire way society viewed sex. He helped legalize pornography and sparked the sexual revolution, which was the moment that society started to accept and embrace porn and sexual liberation. On the surface, that seems cool, right? A man who was ahead of his time, not wanting to be tied down by these dated restrictions in the way we view sex. No, we're gonna change the way we view sex. We're gonna liberate ourselves. We're gonna be free. But what people don't realize is the man that helped usher in that freedom was a bona fide, certified pedophile, guys. He used over 300 children, including babies under 1, in his studies of the female orgasm. He claimed that children enjoyed being molested and raped, and if they climaxed during the grape, they actually enjoyed it. Let that sink in for a second. He raped hundreds of children systematically, daily, and because they climaxed, if any of them climaxed, that was proof that they actually enjoyed it and that we are born sexual. So if a man or a woman wants to be with a young child, that's okay because we are from birth. That's his mind state.
Dr. Alfred Kinsey, his book, Sexual Behavior in the Human Male, 1948. He was the father of the sexual revolution and therefore the father of everything that has come from that. And certainly one of the key things was pornography.
Dr. Alfred Kinsey ushered the destruction of our nation's moral code with his books, Sexual Behavior in the Human Male and Sexual Behavior in the Human Female, known as the Kinsey Reports. The world recognized him as the leading scientific expert on human sexuality. The reports claim that humans were sexual from birth, and that what we deemed as immoral sexual behavior was actually normal, thus making it moral. What people to this day are not aware of were the methods he used to collect his data.
And I looked at the graphs that he provided, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34 tables, and I said, wait a minute, that's a 2-month-old baby. How does he know a 2-month-old baby did or did not have an orgasm? And then table 34, a 4-year-old child, 26 orgasms in 24 hours? That's an around-the-clock experiment.
Wow, that's torture.
That's torture, you bet. He also actually employed bona fide pedophiles to do what they did to children for his so-called data.
Kinsey wanted to prove that we were sexual from birth, so it wasn't surprising that he drew his data from pedophiles, rapists, and murderers. They were a perfect sample because obviously a rape pedophile will have a skewed perspective on sexuality, convincing himself that his victim finds pleasure in the act of being raped. Using a stopwatch and a ledger, they recorded their sexual experiments, systematically molesting thousands of young children under the guise of science.
I had 196 pre-adolescents under 12, and he broke them up into 6 categories. And fainting, convulsions, screaming, writhing, striking what he called their partner, that's somebody who's raping them. Okay? And they were trying to get away, but he said they enjoyed it. They definitely enjoyed it.
The research in Kinsey's books were partly based on the collection of data and confessions of a Nazi pedophile during World War II, Dr. Fritz von Balusek, who raped hundreds of children. After the war, the Nazi officer was charged and put on trial for the murder of a 10-year-old girl. They found detailed records of von Balusek's heinous sexual acts with children, revealing his correspondence with Kinsey. Dr. Kinsey, who was fully aware of the Nazi officer's atrocities, warned him in his letters to be careful and encouraged him to continue his research. During the trial, the judge said, "I got the impression that you got to the children in order to impress Kinsey and to deliver him material." To his surprise, Balusek replied, "Kinsey himself asked me for that."
And of course, it was the foundation of all the changes in our laws, the sodomy laws, the abortion laws, everything else. I mean, he's there. His handprints are on everything that deals with sexuality.
It didn't take long for Kinsey to deceive the world with his fraudulent data, convincing us that we were sexually repressed and ignorant to the truth.
First, the media drank the Kool-Aid, and they were carefully taken care of by the Kinsey Institute to drink the Kool-Aid, okay? And then once they drank the Kool-Aid, the scientists, quote-unquote, drank the Kool-Aid, and then the legislators drank the Kool-Aid, and then the lawmakers drank the Kool-Aid, and here we are.
Essentially, what Kinsey did was he changed our belief about ourselves. This change of belief naturally changed our behavior. Soon, Kinsey's ideas permeated everything in our society, from our legal system reducing the penalty for sexual crimes and legalizing abortion, the media promoting his philosophy to the educational system, teaching children his views on sexuality. What's more, the pharmaceutical industry capitalized from the sexual revolution. We saw the emergence of STDs, sexual enhancers, and the morning after pill. The divorce rate soared along with sexual crime. As a people, we would never be the same again. Our innocence was lost forever. Ultimately, Kinsey's fraudulent data led to the legalization of pornography.
Now guess who his biggest inspiration was? Aleister Crowley. Not only is Alfred Kinsey a pedophile, he was a super fan of Aleister Crowley. He dedicated his life to researching sex and wanted to play a part in ushering in the new age of Horus. He made it his plan to normalize sexual immorality and wrote about Aleister Crowley in his teachings. He openly claimed he wanted to find Aleister Crowley's diary, and he even visited Aleister Crowley's lodge with his friend and gay lover, Kenneth Anger. And this is the picture of Kenneth and Alfred Kinsey in Aleister Crowley's lodge. Now, if you don't know who Kenneth Anger is, he's a legend in Hollywood for being the first gay man to create gay corn films. And he is a certified occultist and follower of Aleister Crowley. He even created a film called The Invocation of My Demon Brother, which starred the creator and founder of the Church of Satan, Anton LaVey.
His bedroom is called La Chambre de Cauchemar, the room of nightmares, and the whole idea of the paintings was to show what nightmares were like. And for instance, on the edge of his bed, he had all these demons looking over the edge of the bed at what was going on in the bed. So he had a great sense of humor. But Mussolini had kicked him out, and then they had ordered the paintings all covered with whitewash. So I spent, in 1955, a whole summer very carefully scraping off the whitewash and using diluted acid to soften it up and then remove it. But under it were these beautiful oil paintings by Crowley. And so that was a thrilling experience. And while I was doing it, the famous sexologist, Dr. Alfred C. Kinsey, came to visit me because he wanted to see these paintings. So there's a photograph of me with Dr. Kinsey in the house, which Crowley called the Abbey of Thelema, which means the will, which was after Rabelais. He adored Rabelais. So.
Do you see how it's all linked already? We have a homosexual director who is clearly an occultist and a Satanist, and the gay lover of Alfred Kinsey. They both worship and idolize Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley believed raping children was okay. Alfred Kinsey conducted experiments on hundreds of kids because he also believed in raping children. Now guess who funded this project? Rockefeller Foundation. So we've got $1 billion company in Rockefeller, known Freemasons, known elitists who have changed the way the world operates, from education to sex, everything. We have got the Rockefeller Foundation pumping money into the abuse of kids. Right, so let's revise what we've heard so far. Aleister Crowley was visited and he was told by Horus through Hours that he would usher in a new age for humanity, an age of Horus, an age where immorality is promoted, an age where turning your back on God is promoted. An age all about self-idolization and self-worship. This man was a demonic, satanic pedophile. This very same man inspired Alfred Kinsey, who published 2 key reports that went on to usher in an entire revolution. He also had a gay lover who was big in the industry, who promoted satanic beliefs, promoting magic rituals, and promoted these activities with children. You can see that the history and foundation of Korn is laced in magic rituals, pedophilia, and pure demonic energy. Now we come to the godfather of Korn, Mr. Hugh Hefner himself. Hugh Hefner was directly and factually inspired by Alfred Kinsey, specifically inspired by the Kinsey reports. He actually referenced the Kinsey reports in Playboy's 2nd ever edition and credits Alfred Kinsey for being the researcher while he was the pamphleteer.
The first issue. We called it The Other Great Book that was coming out in 1953. Max Lerner, the historian and a good friend of mine, said that Kinsey was the researcher and I was the pamphleteer. And it's an interesting way of looking at it. I certainly do think that in a very real way, the sexual revolution began in 1953, with the 2nd book and the beginning of Playboy.
As you saw from that video, he's proud to talk about Kinsey. He's proud to talk about how Playboy ushered in the revolution that changed the way we view sex. When the Kinsey reports actually dropped, Hugh Hefner was a virgin in college. He was disillusioned with life, thinking, wait, here I am being the nice guy, but this is what women want, and this is we're all just sexually hyper, we're all just sexual animals. Yeah, Kinsey's right, let me switch up the whole program. Kinsey inspired Hugh Hefner. Fun fact, Brooke Shields posed nude at the age of 10 for Playboy. Fact. So we can see that Playboy is no different from everything that's come before it. Playboy ran a nude segment on Brooke Shields when she was a child, guys. We have got Hugh Hefner clearly inspired by Alfred Kinsey, the very same Kinsey who was inspired by a satanic nonce, who is a nonce himself, by the way. So I've got absolutely no doubt in my mind that Hugh Hefner ended up noncing on kids. We all thought that it was great that an 80-year-old man was chilling with 19, 20-year-olds. What? The guy's a weirdo, bro.
One of the virgins in college that read Kinsey and believed him was a guy named Hugh Hefner. Okay, yeah, so he's in college.
So Hefner was an advocate for
he reads Kinsey and he says, hey, I will be Kinsey's pamphleteer.
Really?
So from there, he began to advocate for changes in the law, and he created a magazine called Playboy, which then he said would reflect what Kinsey had found about human sexuality.
In his fraudulent
data. America was educated by a pedophile whose work was labeled as science. Just as Darwin was the father of legitimizing evolution, Kinsey was the father of legitimizing the sexual revolution and all that's based upon that today.
Sure enough, Hefner was true to his word. Not only did he popularize pornography on a global scale, he also helped to legalize it.
Everything you think you know about these industries or where we've come from, it always comes back to some sort of demonic, satanic, Freemasonic practice that has evolved and grown, and here we are in modern society. I was driving yesterday, bro. I was driving, and on the right, there's a prawn like truck, and it's called Prawn Hub with the exact same logo as Corn Hub. You get me? And I thought to myself, wow, like, yeah, it's good marketing, because as soon as I saw the Corn Hub logo, like the logo, you know where it comes from. But look at where we are in modern days, where prawn food catering places are allowed like copying corn websites logos because they're that popular, they're that known, they're that familiar. Like, this is crazy, and this all comes from a nonce who was inspired by a Satanist. When you look at corn and videos, it's all about swallowing fluids and this, and you got golden showers and feces. That is exactly what Aleister Crowley promoted in his sex magic rituals. This is the modern day. People would do this and perform these rituals while watching and pleasuring themselves, like a voyeur, like Diddy, like a cuck. Do you understand? Every single time we watch these corn videos, we are cucking ourselves, bro. We are a voyeur to some strangers that we don't know. Just a cuck. That's why we feel so disgusting after we're finished. Like, ugh, what did I just do? It's a demonic practice. And I'm not trying to talk down on no one. I know what it's like I know what it's like to be addicted to this. I know. I've been addicted to everything under the sun. I understand 100%. Now, before I finish, I want to talk about a man called Bruno Dickens, I believe his name is. I think that's his performance name. But Bruno is a male talent in the industry, and he's also the ex-manager of XXXTentacion, the rapper who died a few years ago, right? Who's also demonic, very demonic, as in he'll tell you that himself. He's openly admitted to selling his soul. There's loads of evidence of him performing rituals on his jail phones and all these things. Like Triple X is 100% a Satanist. He'll tell you that himself if he was still alive. Like, there's bare interviews of him talking about it, right? So let me show you a couple of videos.
Bruno's still doing the same thing he was doing. This is when X was like, he had like short hair. He didn't even have like the two like blonde and he was kid, yeah. He was recording in his house. If I tell you some real right now, like, I'm gonna tell you some crazy, like, these kids, like, what I've heard, what they did at Bruno's house, Bruno did that in the house when I was there. Later on was, I guess after he started living with these kids, he started doing, like, brujeria. Like, he started doing that shit, and, like, these are facts, like, Wi-Fi, funeral, and all these guys would say that. Even Juice WRLD would say that he was, like, yeah, like, Bruno was doing, like, they were doing some weird, even X, supposedly they got some of the girls and did, like, some weird shit.
Yeah, they can
sacrifice. Throwing blood, just on
them up somehow.
He started, the guy that had the model house, he was a male talent, too. I actually can't stand him. His name's Bruno. He's some satanic now with the girls.
That's on Google, that's right.
Yeah, you know him? Yeah. Okay, well,
like I met him once in club and stuff.
He's annoying around. He sacrifices girls' soul and he f***s them on top of his bed because he has like the gates of hell pentagon drawn underneath his bed, and he sacrifices girls' soul on top of the bed when he f***s them. So let the world know that, because that is some real demonic shit. That's not cool. And that revolves around XXX tension too.
Yeah, that whole scene and stuff is like everything.
XXX does the same thing. Yeah, he sacrifices his best friend's soul, Ski Mask. Sacrifice his soul. It's real.
So just to make that clear, Bruno, a male talent who's also a Satanist, was essentially sacrificing these women's souls every single time he was having intercourse with them. He would have the demonic pentagram under his bed. So when he's sleeping with these women, he's literally sacrificing their souls. He's performing rituals on these women. Yeah, guys, don't think just because you're not into this stuff that people aren't into this stuff, bro. This is so normal. You think, oh, that's 1800 stuff, that's 1700 stuff. Modern humans don't do that anymore. What did I tell you, bro? Every human on this planet weren't around 150 years ago or 120 years ago. What do you think the world was like 120 years ago? It was damn near the same as it is now. Same type of human, same mentality. You understand? Just different technology. Yeah, we are always a product of where we come from. So yes, modern humans are 100% into this stuff. The people running your country, running the world, are into this stuff. Fact. They're into stuff that we can't even fathom, bro. I'm telling you. As I said, I understand the struggles of having a corn addiction. Yeah, I understand. It's probably my earliest and most long-lasting addiction. But it's very important that we get rid of this industry. I'm not gonna lie to you. This industry shouldn't exist. OF shouldn't exist. Cornhub shouldn't exist. X videos, XX, whatever it is, this industry should not exist. I'm not telling people to not have sexual partners or whatever. At the end of the day, we've gone too far now. We can't go back. We're not going to go back into a more conventional lifestyle. But just think about what you're doing. Energy exchange when you're sleeping with all these hundreds of people is real. I know that for a fact. Like, all these things, they don't make us feel good, do they? When you wake up and you're next to a stranger, they don't really make you feel good. Having these multiple sexual partners, no, it doesn't make you feel good unless you're insecure, personally. If you're insecure and you need that validation, then it probably will make you feel good, but deep down it won't. And I truly believe this industry is demonic. I'm not saying that all corn stars or people who are on OF are demonic, of course not. But the industry itself is a demonic industry. It cannot be denied. I've proven it where it comes from in this video. It comes from Aleister Crowley's teachings of Thelema, sex magic rituals that inspired a nonce who abused many children, who inspired Hugh Hefner, who then changed the entire world and the way we view sex, bro. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something today. Let me know your thoughts, and if you made it this far, you know I've got to see the real ones. I've got to find the real one. Let's put that lotion. Let's put the lotion. Since we're talking about, you get me, X-rated, let's put the lotion emojis in the comments so I know who made it this far. I may not engage with every single comment, I try to, but I see all of them eventually. So yeah, I appreciate you. I love y'all. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay vigilant, and peace.